this morning. Facebook, hello. How are you? How's it going? Happy Wednesday, everyone. So you guys see in the title, do you have an exit strategy? For those of you who are hairstylists and salon owners who are currently slaying behind the chair, regardless, hear me when I say this, regardless of whether you just started in the industry or you've been in it 20, 15, 25 years, do you have an exit strategy? And if you don't, you need one, right? It's so important that you have one. A lot of times when we start out in the industry, call me Carter. How are you? Thank you for joining. Many times when we start out in the industry, I wonder if I can, let me see if it'll allow me to share. No, it won't. Okay. But many times when we start out in the industry, we're so gun-ho, right? We're ready to get behind the chair and slay heads. But it's so important that we have a plan to eventually come from behind the chair, because ultimately, whether you're thinking about it right now or not, life happens and we grow older, we mature, and the energy that's needed to maintain at the same level, doing the same thing, it often leaves. And so one of the things that I notice is that most people have no idea like how this is going to happen. I remember before I opened my salon, having a conversation with another young lady, and she owned a nail salon. And I said, are you going to get someone in here to work with you? And she was just saying, no, I'm good by myself. I like working by myself. And I said, well, what about when you get 40? Now, at this time, she was probably in her early 30s. And so thinking about what she was going to do when she was 40 may have been too far. Toxie 9, how are you? May have been too far ahead of her. But one thing that I knew, in my mind, I was like, I don't want to have to do this when I'm 40. And I mean, have to. I would want being behind the chair when I'm 40, this was my personal thing, to be simply because I'm still passionate about that aspect of being in the beauty industry. So on today, my first question for you guys is, do you have an exit strategy? And if you do, I want you to put a 1 in the comments for me. And if you don't, I want you to put a 2 in the comments for me. Do you have an exit strategy? Do you know how you're going to eventually transition from behind the chair? While you guys are doing that, be sure to say hello in the comments. Happy Wednesday. Those of you who are catching me on the replay, thank you so much. You could be anywhere else other than here with me, and so I value the time that we get to spend together on today. Let me get some of this key and all this good stuff out of my way. Tanya, hey girl, hey, how are you? I'm going to ask you guys to do me a couple favors while I'm introducing myself. Tanya, I don't believe I've seen you on a live broadcast before. So because there are newcomers or people who are coming on and they might be like, who is this lady? I'm going to do a quick introduction. And while I'm doing that, you guys tell me where you're rocking out from. Another thing, tap the screen for hearts. Show me a little love throughout the broadcast. If I say something that helps your life or your business, you get an aha moment or a moment of transformation, you can let me know by tapping the screen for hearts or the like button. Also, if you could do me a favor and share with another industry professional, I promise you, every single industry professional. Oh, it's been a minute. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for coming back. Welcome. I appreciate you being on this morning. But every single industry professional who is in the salon industry needs to hear this broadcast. And you guys are going to be so shocked, because you're going to be able to listen to the training on this morning and recognize that many people who thought they were running a business actually aren't. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be really, really heavy. But I come fully to bring awareness this morning. That's my goal on this morning, to leave you in a different space of awareness, because I truly believe that it's from the space of awareness that we can actually, Sharon, hey, darling, how are you? We can actually create a strategy, to do something different, right? So I'm going to drop some awareness nuggets on this morning. I'm Tanya Wilson-Cherry, beauty business consultant and certified life coach. I have a 20+ year background in the most amazing industry on the planet that allows us to do exactly what I'm going to talk about on this morning. We can do it with ease. It's a career that we can actually be a free spirit in. We can have a good time. We can travel. I just love the industry. Hey, Brooke, how are you, darling? Thank you for joining. And so we're in an absolute amazing industry. And I've been a licensed cosmetologist in it for going on 25 years now, and 10 years as a former salon owner. I help hairstylists and salon owners just like you, right, get to their next level, create amazing brands and lifestyles that they love. One of the huge things I do is help them to work smarter. Somebody put smarter in the comments, children, right? I help them to work smarter and not necessarily harder. I actually teach from a full circle perspective. So I talk about or teach mindset principles, personal development, and business building, because building a business and being an entrepreneur, it's a full circle thing, guys. Like, as we continue to grow, like our habits, our awareness, our thinking, how we do things, all that's personal development. That's actually the measure that our business grows. So I teach from a full circle perspective, and many of my clients see massive growth when they have an opportunity to work with me privately. And one of the spaces that I, foundationally start with my clients is, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? Not just 2 to 3 months down the road, right? Because if you're going to be in this thing long enough, and 90% of salon professionals who become licensed and make this a career, your career lasts you 20, 30, 40 years. And unfortunately, when we start, we don't always think about that. So we think about the grind and doing tons of customers and all of the great things that come with, becoming a licensed stylist, but we often fail to think further than that. So whether you've just started in the industry, you've been doing it 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25 years, you need an exit strategy. And if you've just started in the industry, please don't avoid this training as if it's not for you, because you're in an amazingly great position to make sure that what you're doing now is collectively going to get you to the end all be all, the end desires that you really want. And so clarity is going to be really, really important. And I want you guys to know that this industry stretches beyond the chair. So I'm going to give you guys some figures first. We're going to talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about what it takes to transition from behind the chair. Remember, if you guys are on with me this morning, please share the broadcast out. There is a share capability on Periscope, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm on all 3 platforms. If anything goes out, you guys can always go to facebook.com/buildwithtanya. That device seems to always be steady and consistent. And for those of you who are looking to connect with me outside of social media, you can always do that at renewfullcircle.com. renewfullcircle.com. So before we get into, first of all, is this a topic you guys want to hear about? Good morning. She's seen a lot. Hey, darling. How are you? Hope you're doing well this morning. We're talking about transitioning from behind the chair, having an exit strategy. You guys put a 1 in the comments if this is a topic that you're interested in. Put a 1 in the comments if this is a topic that, registers for you guys. Hopefully it does. As I said before, you all need one. Even if you just started in the industry, she's seen a lot, puts a 1 in the comments. Absolutely. Even if you just started in the industry, you need an exit strategy. So I'm going to share a couple statistics and a couple principles for you guys to think about first. And then I'm going to talk about what it takes to transition from behind the chair. Sound good? So first of all, I do what's called a book a month. And so one of the books that we read some months back was this book called T.E.A.M. And it talked about different business models or different positions that people find themselves in as it relates an occupation, a job, a business, things of that nature. So 60% of the world, right? 60% of the world are employees, right? 60% of the world are employees, meaning they work for another company. They get paid by the hour. They punch a clock. They work for someone else. Hey, Sojo, darling, how are you? Thank you for joining this morning. 60% of the world is in that position, right? So an employee, this is the thing about being an employee, right? One of the things I like to do too, guys, I love journeys, right? I like destinations. I like journeys because one of my strong suits is building systems, planning, and strategies. And so I'm always thinking from this perspective, where do I want to go? And then where can I start right now that's collectively going to get me there? And so for those of you who are wondering, what does she mean by an exit strategy? That is what I mean, because eventually, listen, at 70, you are not going to want to spin the chair. You're just not going to want to do it. And even if you have a desire up here, chances are very likely that your body is going to be telling you, this is not what I want to do, right? Your body is not going to agree with you on that measure. This is not to say that you might not have your hands in hair because you're marketing for maybe a product or service in the beauty industry that you do where you're not, an employee or you're not tied to the chair. But doing 10, 12, 14 heads at 70, it just ain't gonna happen, right? And so we need to collectively plan for that. So whatever stage you find yourself in now, whether that's being a new stylist or in it for quite some time, you need an exit strategy. So 60% of the world, they're employees. The thing about employees is exactly what I just said. You usually run out of time. We run out of time in life. We get older, right? Things change. Our desires even change. We evolve, and we don't necessarily want to do it the way that we did it before. But most of all, we run out of time. So an employee finds themselves in a position where they're trading time for dollars. Time for dollars. So an employee trades their time for dollars, meaning if they want more money, they go and work more. You got everybody agree with me on that, right? That is the position of an employee. They trade their time for dollars. They're, normally punching a clock and working in someone else's business, right? And so the chances of growth are simply based on how much they can work. And we only have 24 hours in a day, with this one body, regardless of how healthy we are. Your income goal may be a lot larger than the amount of time that you have to actually trade for dollars. So that's the position of an employee. 60% of the world is an employee. 38% of the world, right? I see you, Sojo. 38% of the world is self-employed. So many of you who are booth renters, salon suite owners, you're self-employed, right? So you've gone up the ladder. You're not in the 60 percentile. You're in like the 38 percentile. Now we only got a 100%. So the numbers are getting smaller. You got to know those. I have 4 quadrants that I'm going to talk about. And you got to know that if 60% is here and 38% is there, is not a lot of percent of people in this other round, right? In this other round. So 38% of people are self-employed. Now, the thing about being self-employed is you can set your own schedule, right? You can go to work when you want to go to work. You can take off when you want to take off. You pretty much dictate your own schedule. But what's so similar about being employed and being self-employed is you are still trading your time for dollars. Somebody tap the screen. Somebody tap the screen. Remember I said this broadcast was solely going to be for awareness. Periscope, give me some hearts over there. You know that's some good stuff, right? It's a level of awareness because oftentimes when we become, self-employed or a booth renter or even a salon suite owner, we often say, I work for myself. And I think it's amazing, right? We're moving up the ladder, right? But we still are trading our time for dollars. So we can set our own schedule. We can work when we want to work. But if we don't work, we don't do what? Somebody put it in the comments. If you're self-employed, if you don't work, what doesn't go down? What doesn't go down if you don't work, right? If you're self-employed and you decide, I'm going on vacation, right? I'm not feeling well. I have a child who's not feeling well, right? What happens, right? She's seen a lot say, you don't work, you don't eat, right? She's seen a lot say, you don't work, you don't eat. In layman's terms, you don't eat. You don't get the coin, right? We don't get paid. Like for years, I actually, about my 15th year in, I realized that I had only had maybe 10 Saturdays off, if that, guys, maybe 5. I think it was about 5 Saturdays off in 15 years that wasn't related to me going to an educational class or something of that nature. What I would do, I would go in like really, really early, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, get all my clients in and then leave to go out of town, because what? If I did not work, come on somebody, I didn't eat. If I didn't work, I didn't eat. And if you don't eat, if you don't work, like Sojo says, the bills don't get paid. So remember, that's the second segment many people find themselves in the world. 38% of the world is self-employed, okay? And so the next, so really think about this. In order for me to make money, my money is completely and fully dependent on me working, me being there, right? That's, y'all hear me, right? Somebody share the broadcast. Someone else in the industry needs to hear this, because there are people who are influential as well, but if they don't work, they still don't get paid either. Y'all don't hear me, right? So that's the second quadrant. The third one I want to talk about is the business owner. So before I get into the business owner, I'm going to include salon owners, many salon owners, in the self-employed quadrant. I'm not even going to put them in the business owner quadrant yet, right? And I'm going to tell you guys why. Because a business owner makes their money off of other people's efforts. A business owner makes their money off of other people's efforts, right? So that could also fall in line of you having a digital product or something online. Hey, I'm Sonia Michelle. How are you, dear? Thank you for joining. Or something online where you're not trading your dollars for hours. You guys get that? And so what happens, many salon owners who say they are a business owner are actually self-employed, because their complete business is dependent on them actually working and doing hair behind the chair. So what happens when they're in this situation, they've actually just created another job for themselves. Lord, y'all don't hear me. This is an awareness broadcast, because we're moving to the point where we can talk about how we transition from behind the chair, right? And why what made me come up with the whole transition behind the chair title is because you guys know that I still service clients 1 day a week behind the chair. And I have so many reasons that I do that for, because it's connected to something that I'm going to do in about the next 3 to 4 years that I need to still have my hands somewhat in the industry. So this morning, which is not my day that I'm normally behind the chair, I accommodated a client because of their schedule, which Thursdays is just my day. Like any other day, it doesn't even register to me. So much so that I forgot the client, guys. Yeah, I'm human. The lady that talks about being on time and being there, I forgot the client. I saw the reminder and I thought it was a reminder for tomorrow, right? And so when I realized it got me to her about 15 minutes behind. So when I call and we talk, I said, the entire thing is on me. Your service is on me, right? One, because of integrity, right? Regardless of whether it was only 15 minutes or whatever the case may be, I scheduled an appointment with her and I wasn't there on time. I'm dropping nuggets all around the place, but I'm also telling you guys, hey, Miss Rhonda, how are you, dear? Why I ended up, really talking about this this topic this morning. And it reminded me that, one, I have to stick to my normal days, right? I have to stick to my normal day, which is that one day, because this is what happens for many people. Hey, darling, this is one of the reasons that many people struggle to transition from behind the chair, right? Because they're afraid to sacrifice something else in order to get in the space where they've actually transitioned. And so for me, when I first began transitioning from behind the chair, because I'm a full-time consultant for hairstylists and salon owners now. But when I first started, I kept struggling, first of all, with Saturdays, right? Saying I'm not working any more Saturdays. And then I was like, okay, it's difficult to put my efforts and my energy into this other thing that's going to allow me to transition more from behind the chair, with me working so many days as a stylist. Prime example, exactly what happened this morning. So when I get into what's going to be needed in order to transition behind the chair, you guys will understand fully why I'm sharing this, right? And so this morning, what I said was, okay, look, you just can't accommodate anybody on any other days. And many people will not get to that because they're afraid, one, to lose the money. Y'all don't hear me, right? Many won't transition to a new phase because they're afraid to lose the money. So what this looks like because we were talking about salon owners who are actually still self-employed. They're not really business owners, because a business owner uses other people's efforts to earn money. They leverage behind the chair. So a salon owner who is still doing 12, 14 hours behind the chair and they're trading dollars for hours is still self-employed. And regardless of, because oftentimes we say I own a business, but if you aren't, leveraging other people's efforts and you're still trading your time for dollars completely, that's how you completely earn your income, then you're self-employed. It's not gotten to the stage of business owner. Okay, so we were talking about the 4 quadrants. The third one is business owner, which led to me, making clarity about, salon ownership, right? Hadnack, how are you? Thank you for joining. I appreciate those hearts. So the third one is business owner. Only 4% of people are actually business owners, where they are making their money from other people's efforts, or they're no longer trading their time for dollars. For some of you, you may have a digital product or something that you actually sell that doesn't require you to be there in order to make it happen, in order to make the money, right? Only 4% of people. So how many of you hear about the 1%? How many of you have heard people talk about the 1% before? The 1%. Now we get ready to get into the 1%. So the 1% are people who are multiplying their money by investing. So that may be, mutual funds, or, they may own property or real estate. Like both of my parents, although they're divorced, both of my parents own property outside of the homes that they live in, right? So that's when you've gotten into investing, and that money just, it makes you money without having to be there. They have renters and things of that nature. You guys get that? And so ultimately, when I'm working with my clients, and it's actually, we just finished a segment in one of my group coaching where we talked about, investing and putting money away for different things other than just making money to pay bills. You guys get that? Other than just making money to pay bills. Because if when you think about this, money is a seed, right? And so if you're not putting it into something that's going to earn you more money, then it's just gone. It's just gone, right? So not only are we trading dollars for hours, but we're also spending money that's not coming back to us in any kind of way if we aren't investing it into something. Now, I'm a kingdom entrepreneur, so one huge investment is tithing. It's probably the biggest return on your money, my experience, right? But there are definitely other ways to invest. But many people who consider themselves business owners are actually still employees. And this is why it's so important that we as salon industry professionals, even if you're new in the industry, you have an exit strategy, right? So that you can get to the point when your body is telling you, I can't do 10, 15, 20 heads anymore, right? When your body is saying that it's okay because you have other sources of revenue that are working for you when you can't trade your dollars for hours. So here's what it takes, right? If you want to transition from behind the chair. First of all, you have to have a desire. A desire. And I don't mean, when I say desire, I don't mean, oh, I want to come from behind the chair. To me, those are words. A true desire is something that won't let you rest at night. When you have a true desire for something, you become that thing. It becomes you. It's part of your thought process. It's part of your daily activity. That's what a real desire is. It's not something that you say that you desire because it's January 2019 and this is going to be my year. A true desire rocks out with you all the time. It won't leave. It's like, this is something that I desire. So first of all, you need a desire. You need a true desire if you want to transition from behind the chair. Next, you need to make a decision. You got to make a decision, because transitioning from behind the chair, whether you're new in the industry or you've been in it 15 or 20 years, is going to happen because you've decided, I already know that I'm not going to be doing this for 40 years. Thank you for those hearts. I appreciate it. I'm not going to be doing this for 40 years. So how can I start now so that I can collectively get to that next space, right? And so you got to make a decision. And everything that you're doing should collectively lead you to that exit strategy that you have, right? And so the next thing that you need is a plan. Doing more heads it's not it resonates. Yes, a desire resonates with you, Sojo, absolutely. So a plan is not, I'm going to do more heads. That's not a plan, guys. It's not. And I'm telling you guys this from experience, because I can remember at 28 or 30, I said, I'm retiring when I'm 35. When I get 35, I'm gonna retire. That didn't happen, right? And one of the main reasons that it didn't happen is because I didn't have a real plan. So a real plan means that you sat down and you thought about how much money, because when you retire, right, you no longer, you're not trading your dollars for hours anymore. And so a plan would include, how much money do I need to make, have saved, or have coming into me, because I'm multiplying my money, I've invested it or whatever. How much do I need to make? Like, if I don't work all year long, how much money would I need to make in order to maintain my lifestyle without even decreasing it necessarily, and still be able to live a fulfilled life? And so that's when you really get into planning. Without that, what actually is happening is many people just end up saying, let me just get more customers, which is what I did, right? I was like, I'm just gonna grind this thing out as if it was just going to happen. And then around 32, 33, I was like, I can't retire at 35, right? And so I began to have a true desire for, retiring from trading my dollars for hours. And because I had a true desire, new information. Now the information was already there. Y'all don't hear me. The information was already there, but because I had a true desire, I could now see it. I saw the information completely different because I had a true desire now, right? To figure out how to get this done, to find out what was going to actually get me to the point where I was no longer trading my dollars for hours. Now, although I opened the salon in between that time and I had staff, so I probably had about 12 staff members or either contracted help with me at that time. But when I first opened, it still wasn't connected to a complete target, which we're going to talk about that too, right? And so you guys are going to need a plan. And I'm just going to do more hair. It's not going to do it, right? Because you're going to just find yourself working. You're going to find yourself working. The next thing that you need, because, you know, many plans don't move forward because there's no strategy. Lord have mercy. Many plans don't move forward because there is no strategy. So a strategy is, this is what I plan to do, right? And this is how I'm going to do it. You're strategizing how you're going to make that happen. And once you begin to get that, every effort that you make, remember I said, even if you're new in the industry, right, and you come in and you know what your exit strategy looks like, mind you, it may change over time, but it means instead of you going all the way over here throughout your 10, 15, 20-year time frame, you're going to be a lot closer to what you originally decided as your exit strategy. You guys get that? Because it takes more effort to come from way over here to get to, you know, the place where you can actually transition from behind the chair. So you're going to need a strategy. You're going to need to make some sacrifices. For those of you who are salon owners and you're working, you know, still at 12 midnight, you're doing, you know, 12, 15 clients a day, sometimes 6, 7 days a week, because the bulk of your business is dependent on the money that you make, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. Like, it's not just going to happen. You're going to have to say, I'm going to have to take some time from behind this chair to dedicate it, right, to that other thing, or that other revenue stream that's going to allow me to no longer have to trade all of my time for hours. That could be taking some time from behind the chair to work on your business, to be the visionary of your place, to figure out how to market even better to get customers in your salon for the staff. Because remember I said, once you begin to use other people's efforts or leverage, that's when you become a business owner, when you're no longer having to trade your own time, y'all don't hear me, for dollars, right? And you're gonna have to make a sacrifice. You're gonna have to say, okay, maybe I'll just start with taking a half a day off and be specific. For instance, I gave you guys the example. I don't do clients on any day except Thursday. But today I accommodated a client, and because it's not even my normal day and it's outside of my nature, I was late for the client, guys, right? I was late for the client because Wednesday is not my normal day. And this morning I was like, I can't accommodate people outside of my normal day, right? Now, for some of you, you may say, well, if I don't do that, I'm going to miss money, but many of you are doing so many things that you're not working with the spirit of excellence in any one area, right? And so it's kind of like becoming a jack instead of a master. And so in order to master what your true desire is, to ultimately be the visionary of your place and not have to depend on solely your income in order to make the place run, you're going to have to begin to develop other skill sets, like working on your business, advertising for your business, marketing for the staff, marketing to get staff, right? That will replace your income. Do you guys get that? Y'all tap the screen if you guys are getting that. If it's good to you, it's registering and you're getting an aha, you know, tap the screen for hearts and let me know if it's working for you. Remember, I said, regardless of where you are in the industry, whether you're just starting out or you're 10, 15, 20 years in, you need an exit strategy. And this is how you're going to transition from behind the chair. You're going to get a full desire, right? Let me read what Sojo said. That was a great comment as it related to desire. She said, it resonates with you. The desire to, like, I know I'm not going to be doing this forever, so let what I do now, the efforts that I'm making now, lead up to that ultimate exit strategy, right? That ultimate exit strategy. So I said, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, guys. You're going to have to take some time, some energy, some effort, and some money to invest in getting the information that's going to help you get from behind the chair. Or, and you know, maybe this is, I don't know if this is a good example, but it came up, so I'm just going to say it. None of you want to end up being the greeter, right, at Walmart, Y'all don't hear me, right? None of you who love the industry so much want to have to go and work a job that has nothing to do with the hair industry, right? I know sometimes we got to go do what we got to do, right? But when it's all the way outside of the industry, I've seen it, happen so many times. I've seen so many people, go to get a job and they hate it. They completely hate it because they're a hairstylist at heart, or they're a beauty industry professional at heart, right? And so we avoid those things by having a plan and a strategy, and be willing to make some sacrifices. You're going to have to come up off of that chair some, right? To learn, especially if you're a salon owner, Strictly Business, how are you? Thank you for joining. To learn how to let your business work for you, right? So you can become a business owner and you'll be in that 4% category. You're going to have a definite purpose. Like, for as much as we love the industry and we're walking through it and we're enjoying the hair shows that we get to go to and the freedom, the creativity, all of that, don't let you being a stylist be the fullness of your life. Awesome. Don't let you being a stylist be the fullness of your life, because it's so much more. And your position in the hair industry can become a huge part of your life, but it should be like a platform or a soundboard for you to be able to produce all of the other things that you desire in your life. And so whether it's a job, for those of you, because some people come on and watch who aren't stylists, your job should be the platform. It should be the soundboard for all of the other things that you desire. Your job should not be your life. Your hairstylist career or your salon should not be your life. It should be that platform that allows you to do the other things that you really desire, right? And you can only do that with a plan. The next thing that you're going to need is patience. You're going to need patience, guys, right? And I don't mean, because I feel that sometimes as kingdom entrepreneurs, we say, I'm waiting on God. And when we say patience, really we say, like, I'm waiting on God. That's not a type of patience. That's not what I'm referring to, guys, right? Because a lot of times that becomes a crutch. It really becomes a crutch for a lot of us. I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God, right? But I mean patient to the point where you're able to be consistent and watch it and walk it out, right? At the first sign of, say for instance, you're transitioning from behind the chair and you've decided that you're going to take a half day off so that you can dedicate that 4 or 5 hours strong into working on your business. And maybe you have hired a staff member or you have a new booth renter and the week didn't go really good. You can't say, okay, I'm going back to completely doing hair 7 days a week again, right? That's what I mean by patience. Like, you still have to believe in the process enough to continue on the path that you desire to go, or you'll never get there. And a lot of what happens is through consistency. So I'm going to use just a really general example. I've been writing in my gratitude journal for some months now. And I did it before some years ago, and I would hear people say the benefits of it all the time and how it changes your life. And I did a gratitude journal several times, but this time has been profound. I can't even begin to explain to you guys how my energy, my mindset, the favor in my life, the things that I've been attracting since I started writing in my gratitude journal, it's been completely different this time. But one of the things that has been different is because I've been consistent. Like, the times before, I wasn't consistent. So I could never really see, how being intentional about gratitude changes your life. And here's one of the things that it does. Intentionality with gratitude does is it reshifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. And whatever you focus on is what you attract. And so as I began to focus on things that may have been trivial to me because my vision was so big, right? And whereas I might have been focusing on all of these big things that I wanted all the time, which is really a space of lack. That's a lack mentality. When you're thinking about all the things that you don't have, It's a lack mentality. Whether you're thinking, you know, because it's this big space between here and your vision, if you're constantly there, then you're going to keep attracting lack into your life. And so one of the benefits for me that happened this time, because I was consistent. Somebody put consistent in the comments for me. Consistency. That's the only way it's going to manifest, guys. Remember, I said you have to have definite purpose. So definite purpose is going to make sure that you're consistent, because you have, this is what I desire, right? Eventually, this is what I desire. So I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to stay right here and be consistent. And patience is how you wait. And the next thing about patience is consistency. Absolutely, Miss Rhonda. Patience is not, I'm not doing anything. See, this is where the I'm waiting on God thing, Omika, how are you, dear? This is where the I'm waiting on God thing becomes confusing, right? Because I feel that oftentimes we use, as believers, we use I'm waiting on God crutch, right? We use it as a crutch. Like, you know, well, you know, God will let me know when. It's already now. Faith is now. Faith is a now thing, right? You guys know that, right? Faith is a now thing. And of course, you're making calculated risks, but I don't think things take 10 years. I just don't think some of the things that we say we're waiting on, and some people wait 10 years, 5 years. I don't think it takes that long. I think what actually is transpiring in all of this time that we're waiting is it's waiting on us, right? To give ourselves permission to really walk in faith, to have a definite purpose, to have a true desire, remember, to make a decision, all the things I name on how, you know, what you're going to need to transition, to plan, to strategize, to sacrifice. That's what's really happening in those 10, 15 years we're waiting on things. It's waiting on us to have a true desire for it. It's waiting on us to make a real decision and commit to it. I just don't think it takes 10 years, guys. So when we say we're waiting on God, we want to be really careful when we're making those particular statements and make sure that it's not us. Make sure that we just make sure it's not the fact that we need another level of faith, right, to actually make the decisions and make some of the sacrifices that's needed. So patience is not like I'm not moving at all. Patience may mean I'm being consistent on this, and I'm patiently watching small things happen as it moves forward because I'm consistent. And so that was the difference for me with my gratitude journal. Before, I wasn't consistent. So now I see that having the gratitude journal, one, makes me consistent, right? Makes me, one, not consistent, makes me intentional about my gratitude. So I'm writing down things. And as I write down things that I normally may have passed off because I was thinking about those bigger things so much, I'm attracting even more of those things that I said I was grateful for. So I'm just giving you guys an example of what consistency does, and the fact that you need consistency is part of patience, you know, as you're doing it. And then last but not least, because we can reverse engineer this last thing that I'm going to say, you need a target or a goal. You need a vision, right? So remember I told you, in your life. I didn't have a plan. That's when it's unrealistic. So your plan is your overall vision, like where it's going, and then you go back and reverse engineer it. So I just encourage you guys, whether you're new in the industry or whether you've been in it 10 to 15 years, to begin to devise an exit strategy, because our bodies aren't going to allow us to do this at 70, right? 45 for some, 50 for some. And even if it does, I don't think many of you want to transition from behind the chair when you can barely, you know, get around anymore. You still want to be able to be vibrant and travel and enjoy life. And so remember, for those of you who are just joining, I talked about 4 quadrants. Many people are employed, and self-employed and employed is a real thin line, right? And then also some salon owners are still employed. They're not actually business owners, because the other 4% of people who are business owners actually allow other people's efforts to make money for them, to help them earn money. They leverage. And so that's when they become a business owner. And then we talked about that 1% where they begin investing and the money is, making money for them. And so guys, get an exit strategy. If you don't have one, come do a complimentary call with me. bit.ly/build with Tanya. bit.ly/build with Tanya. It's complimentary. We can just talk about some awareness and about what it is that you desire, and then talk about what you're going to need, how I can support you in, creating that strategy that will ultimately, even if it's a 10-year plan, right, get you where you desire to be. Has this broadcast been helpful to you guys? If so, you guys tap the screen for hearts. I will see you again on Monday. My normal scheduled broadcasts are Monday and Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I see those hearts. Thank you, Miss Rhonda. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about business, mindset, personal development. Do you have an exit strategy? If you don't, make sure you connect with me. We can hop on a complimentary call. Awesome, Miss Rhonda. And for Periscope, I believe I put it in the comments. Facebook, I'll come back and put the link in the broadcast comments. And you can get on my calendar and we can kind of talk about, like, where do I go from here, Miss Tanya? What are some of the things that I need to do? Because I know at 70, I can't spin the chair like that, right? You guys have a super, super amazing weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week, and stay focused, okay? Peace.